The Sydney Loofe, the date that never returned. It started like any other Tinder match. Two people, one conversation, and the promise of a night out. But Sydney Loofe never came home. Nebraska, 2017. 24-year-old Sydney matched with Bailey Boswell, a woman who seemed friendly, safe, someone she could trust. On November 15th, she sent her friends a Snapchat selfie. "Ready for my date." It was the last message she would ever send. When Sydney didn't show up for work the next morning, her family called police. Her phone went dead. Days turned to weeks, and hope began to fade. Then, in early December, hunters stumbled upon garbage bags scattered along a desolate Nebraska road. Inside, dismembered remains.
Oh my God.
Investigators traced her final texts to Boswell's apartment. There, they uncovered a chilling truth. Boswell and her boyfriend, 50-year-old Aubrey Trail, had been planning what they called a sacrifice. Trail told police it was a witchcraft ritual. Prosecutors called it what it was: murder. Both were sentenced to death. What began as a harmless swipe ended as one of Nebraska's darkest crimes, a reminder that the biggest danger on dating apps isn't rejection, it's trust. The Stephen Port, the Grindr killer. He was soft-spoken, polite, and always smiling. On Grindr, he seemed harmless, almost lonely. But behind that smile was a man methodically hunting for victims. Between 2014 and 2015, in London, England, 4 young men, Anthony Walgate, Gabriel Cavari, Daniel Whitworth, and Jack Taylor, all died within yards of the same apartment. Each had met the same man, Stephen Port. Port used Grindr to lure men to his home. He drugged them with GHB, sexually assaulted them, and dumped their bodies nearby, posing the deaths as accidental overdoses. Police initially believed him 3 times. Only after the 4th death did they realize the bodies formed a pattern that pointed straight back to Port. His browser history revealed searches like "how to kill with GHB" and "sleeping drug dosage death." Port was convicted of 4 murders, 10 sexual assaults, and sentenced to life without parole. His case became a national scandal. 4 lives lost because police refused to see what connected them. It forced Grindr to add safety warnings and reminded millions that predators thrive where trust is easiest to fake. The Tina Satchwell, the husband and the hidden profile. She thought her husband was unfaithful. She was right, but the betrayal went deeper than she could imagine. County Cork, Ireland, 2017. Tina Satchwell, 47, confronted her husband Richard after discovering messages to other women on Plenty of Fish. Days later, she vanished. Richard told police she'd walked out after an argument. For 6 years, he repeated that story, on television, to friends, even at candlelight vigils. But digital evidence told another truth. Investigators uncovered search history for decomposing body, lime pit, and murder without a body. In 2022, a fellow inmate came forward with Richard's confession. He'd killed Tina after she threatened to expose him. Without a body, police built the case through data, confessions, and contradictions. In 2023, Richard was convicted of murder. Her disappearance became one of Ireland's most haunting domestic crimes, and a reminder that sometimes the person who loves you most knows exactly how to make you disappear. The Amanda Grotzke, the desert date. The desert was quiet. A single phone ping broke the stillness. Amanda's last text before she vanished. California, 2020. 32-year-old healthcare worker Amanda Grotzke loved hiking, open skies, and long drives into nowhere. She'd matched with a man named Derek Medina on Tinder. Confident, smiling, the kind of profile that felt safe. They planned to meet on January 18th. She told her sister she'd be back by nightfall. She never returned. 2 days later, hikers found a burned body in the Mojave Desert. police traced Amanda's phone data to Medina's car. Inside, traces of blood. On his phone, searches for how to burn a body and desert dumping sites. Medina confessed. He was sentenced to life without parole. Amanda's family built a foundation in her name, a reminder that sometimes the monster doesn't stalk in shadows. He texts, he charms, he asks for a date. The Mollie Tibbetts, the jog that ended in horror. The summer air was warm, the kind that hums with crickets and quiet roads. Mollie Tibbetts set out for an evening run. She always came back. Until that night. Iowa, 2018. 20-year-old Mollie was a college student with plans, friends, and a small-town sense of safety. But as she ran through Brooklyn, Iowa, a car slowed beside her, driven by a man who'd seen her online before. His name was Christian Bahena Rivera. Investigators later discovered he had dating app profiles matching her type. When Mollie noticed him following, she told him to leave her alone. He didn't. A month later, her body was found in a cornfield. Rivera confessed and was sentenced to life in prison. The case became political, but Mollie's family refused to let her memory become a headline. They fought for Mollie's law, ensuring faster emergency response in rural areas. She was remembered not for her death, but for the lives her name continues to protect. The Rebekah Gould, the murder before apps. Some crimes don't fade with time. They rot beneath the surface, waiting to be unearthed. Arkansas, 2004. Rebekah Gould, 22, was last seen visiting her ex-boyfriend, Kacie Woody. They'd argued before. This time, it turned deadly. Days later, her car was found abandoned. Her body, dumped in a ditch outside Melbourne. The case went cold for nearly 2 decades. No arrests, no closure. Then, in 2023, McCullough, frail, dying of cancer, confessed to a relative. He admitted he killed Rebekah in a jealous rage after learning she'd met someone online. He said the words police had waited 19 years to hear. I killed her. He died before facing trial, but his confession closed one of Arkansas's longest unsolved murders. Rebekah's story is a reminder that the truth doesn't die. It just waits for guilt to speak. The Kacie Woody, the girl behind the screen. It was the early 2000s. Dial-up tones, chat rooms, and teenage curiosity. Young Kacie Woody was online, laughing with Dave. He said he was a teenager. He said he understood her. He wasn't. Dave was David Fuller, a 47-year-old man from California pretending to be a teenager. He groomed Kacie for weeks through Yahoo Chat, gaining her trust. Then, he drove across the country to find her. One December night, he broke into her house, kidnapped her, and took her to a storage unit. By the time police traced the chats, it was too late. Fuller shot himself before arrest. Her father, a police officer, turned grief into purpose. Kacie's law was passed, forcing sex offenders to register their online aliases. She became the face of early internet danger, a name whispered in classrooms whenever parents said, "Be careful who you talk to online." The Ankita Bhandari, the Instagram illusion. She wanted to make something of herself, modeling, travel, a better life. But her dreams ended in the dark waters of a canal. Uttarakhand, India, 2022. 19-year-old Ankita Bhandari worked as a receptionist at the Vanantra Resort. Her boss, Pulkit Arya, son of a wealthy politician, messaged her on Instagram. Compliments, promises, opportunities. But beneath his charm was cruelty. When Ankita refused his advances, he and 2 accomplices assaulted her, then threw her body into the Chilla Canal. It took 3 days to find her. The story set India on fire. Protests erupted. Crowds tore down the resort's gates, demanding justice. Arya was sentenced to life in prison. Ankita's death forced the nation to face a chilling truth. In the digital age, predators don't lurk in alleys. They slide into your DMs. The Bianca Alencar, the Brazilian nightmare. She smiled in every photo, a nursing student with plans to heal people. But her match had other plans. São Paulo, 2021. 25-year-old Bianca Alencar met Gabriel Rodriguez on Tinder. He looked charming, harmless, his profile filled with fake pictures and lies. 2 days after they met, her dismembered body was found in a forest outside the city. He confessed, saying he lost control. He was sentenced to 30 years for femicide. Her death ignited the hashtag Justiça por Bianca movement, demanding background checks and stronger ID verification for dating apps. Bianca's story became a warning. Love can be faked, but danger never stays hidden for long. The Aiia Maasarwe, the message that never finished it, was just past 10 p.m. in Melbourne. 21-year-old Aiia Maasarwe was walking home from a comedy show on a video call with her sister, laughing, smiling, alive. Then came a scream and silence. Her sister, still on the call, heard everything. Aiia, an exchange student from Israel, had matched with a man on Bumble days earlier. That same man, Cody Herman, recognized her on the street. He followed her, attacked, and killed her. She never made it home. Herman confessed and was sentenced to 36 years in prison. In the aftermath, Bumble introduced its date check-in feature, allowing users to share their live location for safety. Aiia's death was senseless, but her story built something lasting, a digital safeguard to protect others from the same fate. If you found this video informative, consider subscribing for more stories like this. And remember, stay alert, stay safe, and never trust a profile before you trust your instincts.